welcome to the panel How to Create a Safe Space, a Safer Space, with the girls from Burenhinder, Waltur, also called Ariana, and Lola, also called Lolita. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you. So Burenhinder tries to create a safer space within the Belgium techno scene. And so you two, how did the Burenhinder collective start? And who are you as a collective in Belgium?
We're a all-female collective that focuses on combining arts with music. We don't only play techno music, but also hard dance. It's all over the place, also ambient now. We started out in 2021 when I had the idea to do an all-female live stream. Because I hated the male industry, because I started as a DJ and I got all the feedback I got was like, yeah, you're a girl, aren't you scared as a girl? And I was like, fuck these dudes, I want to only work with girls from now on. I found Lola and a bunch of other girls on the internet, and then we started a live stream and we became a friend group, and then we kept making parties.
Yes, and what motivated you to create such an inclusive collective?
Because we were an all-female collective and we only had female members, we had the idea to start a party series that was a response on our needs, because we felt like let down by the whole industry, because we never felt safe on like other parties in Belgium. It's a big problem there that it's a very male, like very old tradition scene. Yeah, and we didn't. We never saw enough female names on the lineup to like identify with, so that's why we only wanted to book also Flint artists, to give them a space and like a network to feel safe in and like develop as an artist.
Very nice. And can you provide specific measures and guidelines that you have implemented to ensure a safer and inclusive environment for Flinter Plus individuals?
Yes, so actually we try to be a safe space or a safer space for anyone who enters a party, so not only Flinta Plus people, but also like cis male, they are very welcome at our party, so we try to create a safer space for anyone entering. And I say safer space because we are very well aware that it's almost impossible to guarantee a safe space for everyone, like all these different people coming in. So we try our best. And we have a lot of measurements. I think it starts with only trying to sell tickets pre-sale. We have this one street in Ghent, in Belgium, where there's a lot of bypassers, and those are most of the time the troublemakers. When people know they will come to our party, they also know we really started with these very clear guidelines, so people know what to expect from us. And if they just book a ticket before the party, we know there won't be any drunk bypassers coming into the club, and like we know we will attract a better public, so that's why we try to do it. But of course, if the tickets weren't sold out, we will still do box offices. And then we have a door policy where we have awareness team. We actually call them guardian angels. It's we don't want to call them awareness team. It's just a Burenhinder thing. And when they come to the door, we will tell them about what they can expect. That we expect like a very open mindset where everyone is open to learn, where everyone can be accepted. And we will just talk to everyone and take like a long time talking to people at the door. We will also put a sticker on the camera, and when we feel like people are not open for these guidelines, we will talk more to them. And if they really don't want to accept it, then we won't let them in. But actually, we're not very exclusive at the door. We try to let everyone in that's just okay with everything. And then the guardian angels, their position is not a very controlling position. We have a lot of guardian angels at events. We have very small events. We try to keep them as small as possible, but we still have, I think, 8 people per shift walking around. We have always 2 people in the club, 2 people at walking around at the toilets, and like at the door, 2 people. So we will have 2 people everywhere, and they will be there to just check if everyone is okay. They're not there to take off your take your drugs or to tell you you have to go outside. They're really there if you need help, and that's also made very clear at the door. We will tell them, yeah, these people, you can recognize them by this T-shirt, and go to them, please, when you have problems, or when you feel intimidated. And for us, we have a very open communication with the public, which is very nice. They often come to us like, oh, I really took too much drugs and we need to be helped. And then, it's not this controlling environment. Let's see if so we also have a quiet space where there's no stimuli, so there will be always people present to help you. There will be some fruits, there will be some drinks, some candy, whatever you need. You can lay down, and we will stay with you. Sometimes people just feel like they need it mentally. It doesn't need to be, you don't need to be sexually harassed, or you don't need to be, it's just anyone can actually ask us to go there and to really relax and get what they need. And then we also have a lot of posters, awareness posters, where we tell them, for example, on the toilets, we have a number they can text or call when something is wrong, because we often see that people go to the toilet when they feel, they want to be alone or something happened and they go there to be alone. And that's where we have the number on the door so people can call or text us. But we also have these symptoms of when you're spiked, how you can recognize it. We have, ask consent. We have no camera policy, look after each other. We really try to tell people that. And contact the steward when you feel intimidated. And we also throw away drinks that are standing there alone. Like when we see, oh, this drink is alone and there's nobody around, we will throw it away. When people come to us and like, that was my drink, then we will actually give them a new one. So that's also a policy we have. And we give free water everywhere, all the clubs. We try to never work with clubs that don't want to give free water. And right now, there's one measurement we're still hesitating about because we have gender-neutral toilets, but right now we feel like it's not it's also like when people had a very bad experience on the toilets, then it's not so nice to be in contact with, for example, cis male when you've been harassed by them on the toilet. So actually here we saw a Flinta toilet and a cis male toilet, or we're still very open to explore the position, like the options. So if anyone wants to give any ideas, it would be great. Yeah, you want to add something?
It's the toilet discussion came there when like survivors of sexual abuse addressed to us like, we don't feel safe with cis men on the toilets, and we have our safe space people at the toilet, so normally there's always like supervision, but we have the problem in Belgium that people are stealing our safe space policy without like doing the real work. So in these situations, gender neutral toilets can be an extra danger and like triggering for survivors of sexual abuse. So that's like the context of the discussion, and that's because we never thought about it before. We were just like, gender neutral toilets, it needs to be everywhere, but
without the awareness team, it's super dangerous, and that's something that other clubs sometimes don't have. And we are really there to see, like, if we see two people going into One toilet, sorry. I have like a very loud voice, so it's not a problem. When we see two people in the toilet, we will really ask them, like, are you okay with this? Like, there's people, but if there's not people there present to check it, then yeah, it's dangerous.
Maybe it's also interesting how we organize the Safer Space team that night, like the Guardian Angels. We have a WhatsApp group where everyone is, also if you don't have a shift. And before the party, we sent a policy there so you can read it like a few days before, so you can read it. And like then we have a meeting before the party where we tell the rules again that they've read and see if they have problems with any of them or like remarks or questions. Then during the night in the WhatsApp group, we do these little games to see if they're still on their phone too. To like we ask them like send your favorite emoji, and then they need to react like immediately, so they can see like when we send them like there's a problem there, they can go there. The telephone number that's around the club, they can send us to via WhatsApp, and we link them with the safe space person that can help them. For example, if someone got harassed and is like hiding in the toilet, we can go to the toilet and like save them or get them out of the dangerous situation and bring them to the safer space.
Really nice. I think I would feel really comfortable at your parties. That's really good.
Always welcome.
Thank you. And what are your experiences with all these guidelines, and does it work? How do people feel in the on the parties?
These measurements, we wrote them before we started organizing parties, and it was only out of our experience what we wanted to see on parties. So it was really like a topic, and like during COVID, so it was a long time since we went to parties, and during like organizing parties, we saw like this is not working, we will change this, or this can improve more. First, we didn't have a door policy, or not a strict one, and now we have like it's more important. And I think that's the nice thing about Safer Space. It's never done. We can like always get some feedback and like change rules and make them better, and it's like an open conversation that keeps on going, and it's never finished. But it's also very interesting to see like what the needs are of every kind of public, and like we also had some open meetings like this setting that people could just tell us feedback, and we can like tell our vision about it and have a dialogue with people, and that was very interesting.
Nice. And how do you create this safer space where the individual can fully open up and express themselves without fear and discrimination? So how do you do it?
I think for us a very positive thing was that, as Ariana just said, before we started, we already wrote a manifest on safe space. People knew what to expect, like the content we created on Instagram. The first things we put out there were about awareness, about the topic, about what we were going to do. And I feel that for us it was a very good thing to do, because it kept out the wrong people. And that's something that not all concepts have the advantage. Like when they want to create a safer space policy, they don't always have this natural selection from the beginning. So we really created this community building. We really tried to create a family that was very open and always, like you said, have an open conversation. So the prevention part was super important from the beginning to spread the awareness. And then these guidelines that we communicate at the door, they're very clear for people. I think they just know what's expected from them, and they will give them their word. But also when we need to come to action, which is, I think, the next part of it, they know we will be consistent in taking action. They know that if they come to us from experience, because they probably did once, or they know a friend came to us, and that we really do something about it. There's a lot of concepts that create this great, like, fake notion of safe space. They put it in their bio, and this is a safe space for everyone. And if you see safe space without the safer space, you're already actually like, probably they didn't do any research, or I don't know, you see this fake notion, but then when you go to a security guy or a security woman, they won't do anything about it, and that's the danger. So I think for us, they know that we will take action. We will talk to people, and we know everyone can learn. So it's just, this open conversation again. And then when we have people who need to be taken care of, also when we took them to the quiet space, just to, I don't know, talk to them or really help them medically or whatever, that's not where it ends. We want to, like, after the party, we stand at the door and we're like, are you gonna get safe, home safe? And we really book Ubers if it's necessary. We don't stop at, okay, this was it, we have our money, you can go home now. It's really like, if we know someone was harassed at the party, we will also do aftercare. We will talk to them after, and we will check if they're okay, if they need any mental health support, like from a professional, because still we're not professionals. So yeah, I think it's this whole cycle of things that works for us, and that people know they can feel safer with us. Yeah.
Yes. And how can the collective contribute to empowering Flinter Plus individuals and also other people fighting against discrimination, advocating for their rights?
Again, I think the answer to this is consistency. And for us, from the beginning, for everyone, it was very clear what we stand for. And we were all females. We were also DJs, so we know how some people will take advantage of you because they just want a female name on the lineup, but they don't want to pay you for it, or they want to, like, for example, I'm just going to call names because I don't care. We were asked for big festivals where they want to use the Burenhinder name because they know they will get into the news. They will have booked an all-female stage. For example, Rampage, they call each other, like themselves, the biggest drum and bass festival ever in the world, in the universe. And they asked us, hi, can you please host a female stage at our festival? And we were like, wow, Rampage, we're doing great. And we were like, yeah, sure, this sounds super cool. What's the budget? €0, like, for a whole female lineup. And of course, if you look at the whole lineup, they needed to, like, change something. So they wanted to do a whole weekend of female stage hosts, not only us, but also other people, and pay €0 for it. But of course, when you look at the percentage, yeah, sure, they're doing great with the quota. And that's where we have to say, no, we're not doing this. We're not gonna, we really need to fight for our rights. And even if it's a big chance, just say no. And we did, actually. We said, no, we're not gonna do this. And they came back to us, and then they did have money because they knew they needed us.
Yeah.
But they also ended up in the news, and it was like a very positive thing because they hosted these big female stages, and yeah, but they also put us in a corner there, so it was
But they still didn't pay the other hosts.
Yeah, they didn't.
And then we let them send the invoice later, the same invoice as we
Yeah.
did. So everyone was paid, but still we
really had to come up for ourselves.
yeah, it's really difficult in, like, the Belgian scene, and I think it's everywhere. But from the Belgian scene's perspective, like, we try to help these big events, these big clubs, because they ask our advice as, like, a really small collective, and we're like, okay, we want to help them, but they just take advantage of you, and they just soak all the energy out of you and don't do anything with it. Like, they just see it as a joke, like, try to mock your safer space, and then, like, try to only use it for, like, commercial perspective.
Yeah, and I also think when we talk about big clubs, when we just started the safer space policies, they came to us to ask us what they needed to do. But we were actually just organizing our own events, and we wanted to make them as safe as possible because it was logical to us. But we're not professionals. Like, especially also for you, we're not professionals. We're just people who care. We didn't learn this at school, or we didn't we just educated ourselves because we wanted to create safer parties, and these big organizations come to us because they don't know where to go. And I think that's also a big problem. There should be, like, now there are courses for this, of course, but still not enough and not accessible enough, I think, for also the bigger places. Because if a festival comes to us and they ask us how to do safe space, I don't know, like I host parties of maximum 600 people because we want to keep it safe. So we're not the right people to go to also.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, as usual, women have to fight. Then you're doing right. Just say no, and then you learn. And what achievement has the collective made so far, and what future goals do you have?
Like, I think our main goal was to put Flinta plus artists on a platform. And right now we have hosted stages on big places, like, for example, Dour Festival. We're going to host Tomorrowland Festival. Rampage Festival. Yeah, like big places. And I think it's nice because we can put small Flinta locals on these stages. Maybe still not for enough money, but I think we're getting places. And I think the goal is to keep learning, to keep evolving, to do better always. Not only for safer space, but also have more people of color also on our lineups, like everywhere. Everyone can always do better. Yeah. So for us, it's the same, I think.
Nice. No. Thank you.
I think the next year we're going to focus more on the safer space policy, because this year has been a ride and we've been overloaded with work. But we want to go back to like the social aspect of Burenhinder, and instead of like having a lot of parties, just focus on like helping other parties and like helping the whole scene in total, and not only pushing ourselves but pushing the scene of locals, because now in the industry it's changing to a very like the clubs are now booking locals, but I don't know if it's well done, like if they get paid enough and they're taking advantage now of like the famous locals that are now coming up.
Yeah, so you're a role model too. Don't get underpaid and fight for it.
Yeah, actually maybe a little bit.
Very nice. Thank you, girls. It was a very inspiring talk. Do you have questions? Yeah.
Yes. Should I talk in the mic or? We can also speak. Okay. Just thinking about, because Rampage Festival and that example came to you asking for it. How do you perceive club owners in Belgium where you do parties when you go there with your demands? Are they, what's the power dynamic in there, and maybe how is the power dynamic shifting if there's no discussion rule from your side that you want this and this?
We've had the privilege that we were till now always asked by the club owners themselves, so they always needed to reach out to us. So we had a little advantage that they needed us a little more than we needed them at that time. And we tried to have a lot of meetings in the beginning. Like the first club we worked with, I had like 8 meetings before I said yes. I was just like, yeah, but we really need to do this and this and this. And but what we need to do in the future again, and what we have learned from the past, is that we don't need to trust these club owners always, because sometimes they have like the big promises till the party, and then they're like mocking our safer space with their bar staff. We had that they were like, what did they say?
You did a lot of
they said something about like, yeah, the only thing with safer space is now if a girl gets grabbed by her boobs, she can go in the safer space.
Yeah.
And that's the only.
It was actually not the only thing. I think the whole downside from a safer space is what I also said before, is that you can create a fake notion of safe space, and also for us, if we go to a club, we work with them and they don't accept these guidelines, because we still have to go to security to kick someone out. And at this party, we actually had 3 people who were grabbed by their boobs or whatever, like just harassed. And they didn't do anything about it. The security was just standing there for 10 seconds and it was like, oh, but this guy isn't doing anything. Or I'm talking about guys now, because in this case it can only also be the opposite. But when your club is not working with you, your safety policy is nothing. And that's super dangerous. And that's why we really need these meetings, but you're never sure. Because when you're standing there and the bar is like, haha, tonight it's with safe space. And you're just like, okay, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I think first we wanted to take over their club to prove them a point, but now we don't need to give them our energy anymore. We have some cool club owners who respect us, who have only break even because we ask so much for the safer space team, and we don't need to put our energies in people who we already feel like they will never get it. And it's in Belgium, the bigger clubs are all assholes, but I think it's also in Germany.
Who still puts safe space in their bio, and that's the biggest concern for us now.
Another question. How is the exchange with other collectives or party organizers in Belgium? Do you exchange on these topics to also have more arguments and push those things on clubs?
We're very lucky with the Belgian scene, I think, because all the collectives are really supporting of each other, and if one cancels a club or a person or a DJ, it's almost a general thing. Nobody wants to work anymore. It's really a family of local collectives that's really loyal. But what was the question?
So, the question was if they work together on a safer space. But I think we have these open conversations.
We have these open meetings with other collectives, and we already have a lot of meetings with the collectives individually, informing them how we do it, and often we exchange people who do the safer space for us, and we
volunteers. We also have, since we started, we had some small even safer space concepts that don't even organize parties. They just do the safer space, and that's super great because they all always invite us. We always talk about it, and you learn so much from each other. But everyone is very open because we know there's not one answer to the safer space problem. So we're really open to hear what other people think and how we can improve. Yeah.
I think it's important that we don't gatekeep the safer space thought, because in the beginning sometimes we could be very protective about it because we were scared, especially for male collectives. What are they going to do with this idea? Aren't they going to ruin the reputation of the safer space? But now we try to trust other collectives, because if they want to put some work in it, they often have the heart on a good place.
Someone else.
Maybe another thing, because I'm just thinking about, you're talking about your Belgian perspective, I would say, but also a German perspective. In Berlin, for example, you can love or hate the club commission, but there is a small part of the organization that focus on what's the English? On having a diversity-gerechtes Aussehen, it's about safer space and diversity in club culture, and it's kind of funded workshops and stuff like this.
Yeah.
is there such a tool in Belgium to also get support and get paid for your work, or like for your acquisitive work and stuff like this?
You have some workshops organized by the government, but there was a lot of backlash because they are really sexist. Like they would not like admit that men could be harassed on a party. They were like, no, 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 women, only women get harassed on parties, and it was really like nobody learned anything from it. Like I have some friends who went to it, and they're like, yeah. So there are a lot of like collectives starting up and like trying to get these the money from the states to like fund them, because it needs to become like a kind of profession. Like we need to be able to like hire safer space people and not only volunteers. Like it needs to become a job so people take it seriously. But legally, there's a problem in Belgium. Why safer space people are kind of an issue to like assurance. It's like as a safer space person in Belgium, you can't address directly to like a person in a club, like a party goer. You need to go always through the security, except if you hold a glass. Like if you're like bartending, then you can like address a person, but you can't as a safe space. Yeah, it's
your job needs to be glass washer. It's super weird.
At least you need to do something like in horeca.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like
not ideal. But we like, for example, this problem. Our argument to it is just but another, like a normal club person can tell another person to behave, right? It's not like it's just being human. You can say, no, you're not doing something right, but you can't put them outside. You can't, like, you have to go to the security, and that's why it's super dangerous if the security doesn't take you seriously. That's a problem in Belgium. So we really try to hire the best security spots or work with the clubs with the best security people, because they will be the last people to decide on stuff.
But the French-speaking part of Belgium is okay, though. But they have less successful parties, but they have the best security, and like they have really good workshops. But Flemish people are not that good in French, so it's. Yeah.
Any more questions?
Sounds a little bit like a very, stressful. Sometimes I can imagine it can be for you being in this sort of situation. Do you find the authorities, in case, I don't know, something had happened and you need to contact, for example, the police, or do you get also the same reaction of you're not right? I mean, is it easy to navigate in a situation like that, or what do you do?
I think we never had to call the police, right? Is it right?
Yeah, we never had to call the police or ambulance. We've been very blessed at our parties. There has never gone a big thing wrong that we couldn't fix ourselves. And that's really a privilege. And I get that bigger parties have more problems, but that's why we want to stay really small. But we've talked to a lot of authorities. Like we had this meeting with all the club bosses of Antwerp, with even not the mayor, but like a big person in political in Antwerp who does the club scene. And then I felt I was the only girl there with some other girl from our collective, and I felt really powerless there. Because they invited me to talk about safer space, and they didn't take me seriously. They just were like mocking, and they're like not taking responsibility for things that happened in our club. They were just like, yeah, we do this safe space policy now for like 2 weeks. Nobody got raped. Everything is fine now in our club. And I was like, this is so fucked up. And my friend even got harassed that night by a club boss. So there are moments that we feel really powerless, and sometimes it's even so sad if you see the big clubs that you want to give up, because what do we even bring to the scene if like the big club bosses keep getting the big money and neglecting the whole idea, but still we get a lot of attention, and I think there is a change happening, but we need to wait till they retire, and then we can have real change.
Take everything over. No, I think also a big problem in Belgium still when someone goes to the police with their statement of being harassed, for example, there's still a huge percentage that is not being helped. Like there need to be a lot of cases from for the same person, and then they might go to prison. But like it's a very bad, feed. How do you say it? Like they just don't really act on it, and that's the problem. You also feel very powerless at those moments, because if you go to the police, they probably won't do anything about it. Yeah. Anyone? Okay.
No one? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry. It was really a pleasure to having you here, and we need more safer spaces all over the world, like you do
Yes.
it.
And better.
And better.
Yes.
Applause.